Find out how to recover a missing pet, take a ride with the O'Fallon PD, and join firefighters on a fishing trip with some senior residents. That's all next on O'Fallon Matters. Hi, I'm Dave Burkhardt, your host for O'Fallon Matters. The O'Fallon Police Department provides professional police services 24 hours a day, every day of the year. This first story lets us know what it's like to be an officer for the O'Fallon PD.
O'Fallon Police Department. Okay, got a driver's license on you? You have the insurance on the vehicle? Methamphetamine is not a stable chemical. There are 3 shifts that we have here in O'Fallon. We refer to them as the day shift or day watch, afternoon shift or mid-watch or midnights. And these 3 shifts are broken down into 10-hour increments. And the officers like 10 hours because it allows us an opportunity to have ample time on the road to get our work completed, but it also allows a great opportunity to have what we call an overlay shift. And by overlay, I mean there's a period of about 2 hours that both shifts are working in conjunction with one another. And this was kind of designed around the times that the busiest schedules of the day, whether it be day shift afternoons or midnights, during that busiest period of time, we're going to have extra ample coverage to do that. Roll call is very important to us because it allows us the opportunity to share information about what has transpired during the day. As I previously mentioned, we have 3 shifts, so it's important that we keep up to date on the different crime trends and crimes that have occurred during the times that the other shifts have been on. So roll call is an opportunity for us to share that information, also to check up on any reports that we have that may be outstanding, or any information that we may have about our vehicles being down, or what we call deadlines, equipment that needs to be repaired or fixed. We have to make sure that everything's in working order. A good doctor wouldn't go into surgery with a tool or a scalpel that's dirty. A dentist wouldn't go into his office with dirty equipment. We too, because we carry different tools of the trade, we have to make sure that all of our equipment is in good working order. We don't want to run across into a situation that's bad and one of our pieces of equipment is bad. So it gives us an opportunity to check that. And as you will see also, one of the things we like to do is when we get into our vehicles, we'll check our vehicle because a lot of what we do is wrapped up in the vehicle. We have to make sure that it's in a good operation. Also, we have to make sure that all the equipment in the car is in good operation. Just like with the equipment that we carry on our gun belts and our vest, if that's not in good functioning condition and we happen to use it or need pieces of it and we find out it's faulty, it's a little too late. And what we're going to do, partner, is we're going to get you in, get you booked, okay? We got to get you booked, fingerprinted and photographed, and get you in the booking system, okay? When we make the arrest or the detention and we decide to make the arrest, we're going to follow the proper procedures with handcuffing and then transporting also that individual. It may not necessarily be the same officer that made the arrest that does the transporting. It depends on the call volume or what exactly that particular crime is. Nevertheless, once the arrest has been made, the subject will be transported to the O'Fallon Police Department if we have what we call original charges or the charges are through O'Fallon. So if they are transported here, we'll bring them into the Sally Port area, we'll secure our weapons, walk them into the booking room, and at that point in time, we'll seat them down in the chair and we'll begin the process of booking, which is inquiring with different questions such as where they live, their name, age, date of birth, things along that nature, and then we'll move into the fingerprinting. We do have a new fingerprinting device. It's not brand new, but it's newer. It is great. It's computerized. After that point in time, we'll either issue a summons if it's a local charge, make them issue a bond if it's a state charge, or we're applying for something called warrants through the state's prosecuting attorney's office. We'll house them here at O'Fallon temporarily until that warrant is issued. That's kind of the general routine of the booking process here. One of the hardest parts about police work is doing nothing and then immediately having to go 100 miles an hour. And it's up and down a lot of times in this line of work. Being a police officer is not clear-cut. It's not black and white. Yes, ma'am, but you're responsible to yield. You didn't have a green arrow. It's ever-changing. This whole philosophy of one idea of being a good police officer means this or means that is not really conducive to what we do. There is no one perfect police officer. There's no one perfect strategy of how to be a good cop. It's a culmination of things. The last time it came out, these were kids that were jumping from the school.
Well,
these are adults.
These look like adults to me, but you know, nowadays,
like 20s or
well, one
30s.
is about.
It's a great place to work. It's a great place to interact. And the citizens that I have had the opportunity to interact with in the last 16, almost 17 years that I've been here never cease to amaze me. We have a phenomenal group of citizens that live in O'Fallon.
If your pet gets loose, this local animal hospital may have the answers to help you get them back home.
Animal Talk Medical Center is the place to go to find a missing pet in O'Fallon.
You need to come here first and ID your pet and make sure your pet's here. The second thing is then you'll have to take proof of rabies, a current rabies vaccination, to O'Fallon City Hall. There's a fine there may be for a dog at large. Pay that, and we need to get the receipt from O'Fallon that shows you have ownership, proof of rabies vaccination before we can release your pet. We do post all the stray dogs pictures and cats on both the internet at Facebook and Craigslist, so you can peruse there and see if it's there. But those aren't updated. They're updated every day as much as we can, but they can bring pets in 24 hours a day. Call here, make sure we're open, come by. You're welcome to come by anytime and peruse the kennel, make sure your pet's here. You pay the fine to O'Fallon City Hall. They have to be current on their rabies like we talked about. And then there's a boarding charge here. And what's confusing sometimes is everybody knows about hotel stays and the checkout time at 11 o'clock. But we have to feed and clean your pet. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's per calendar day, and it's $15 in O'Fallon per calendar day.
Don't forget that pets must be current on their rabies vaccinations before they can go home. Animal Talk can perform the vaccination on site, or you can take your pet to another veterinarian.
The state requires and the cities require us to keep those pets for 5 business days. Saturday is a business day. After that, at Animal Talk, we have an agreement with both cities that if we have room and the pets are adoptable, that we keep them at our expense and we try to get them adopted. Again, they're posted on Facebook and they're posted on Craigslist, and the adoption fee is pretty nominal.
There are a few simple steps that you can follow to prevent your pet from getting lost.
Everybody has an accident. A door gets open, the kids open the gate, the yard worker or something, but you know, in both cities there's leash law. So it's imperative that you walk them on a leash. Probably the biggest precaution you can take is get your pet microchipped. Now, after they get picked up as strays and neuters or unwanted pets, they're required when they go home to get a microchip so the city can track them the next time. But microchips are great. If we get a dog in here that has a microchip, the staff reads it, the rabies control officer tries to find it. Usually within the first 24 to 48 hours, if they have a chip, we have the chip, the information, and if it's current, we can call the owner and notify you that we have your pet and how to pick it up.
Animal Talk Medical Center is located at 12678 Veterans Memorial Parkway in Wentzville. You can also visit them online at www.animaltalkmedicalcenter.com.
Have you ever wondered how the national census affects residents in O'Fallon? Here's Joe Meyer with more.
Did you know that census data directly affects decisions made on all matters of national and local importance, including education, public health, the environment, and housing? Federal, state, and local governments use census information to guide the annual distribution of hundreds of billions of dollars for critical services. I had a chance to sit down with Finance Director Vicki Boschert to get an idea of how the 2010 census impacted the city of O'Fallon.
Well, the official census figures affects a couple of different funds. It affects our state motor fuel tax, which is in our transportation sales tax fund. It affects our regional park sales tax and our recreation fund. And it also affects our surtax, which hits the general fund and the debt service fund. What happens is once it becomes official, there is a time period that it allows for. In the instance of the state motor fuel tax, it allows for the state to capture what those official results are, and then they amend our state motor fuel tax monies that we receive on a monthly basis. And those are distributed based on population, and we received our first increase, we received about January 2012. So there is a time delay as to when those officially change our revenue streams. There is a regional park sales tax, and it's 0.1%. And that gets collected through St. Charles County. St. Charles County then redistributes those taxes to the municipalities based on the census population. What happens when we receive that revenue stream, we put it right into the recreation fund and it goes directly into our parks programs.
The census takes into account how our population is defined by the population of the state. O'Fallon has seen around a 60% increase in the motor fuel tax fund, which helps funding for vital city road projects.
I think it affects us in many ways because with the state motor fuel tax, it certainly helps to bring money into much needed repairs for the streets because we've been operating with the city population of around 46,000. So you can imagine having 79,000, the difference in the street repairs that need to take place. Again, with the parks program, it helps put some money back into our parks programs. And it also helps with the surtax revenue. It helps put money into our general fund. So it helps fund just the general operations of the city as we continue to grow. So does our police services and just general administration. And the growing population does help bring in it. It increases our assessed valuation because there's more people buying homes. There's more businesses that come into our community, which also increases our sales tax with people going to our stores, patronizing our local businesses. So it certainly does help us plan how can we pay for the expenses of the city and how can we continue to provide the same level of services to our residents. With the census coming in, it confirms that our GIS estimates are right on, as well as bringing in some additional revenue sources than the ones I had mentioned before.
To find out more O'Fallon census facts, you can go to www.census.gov.
It's time for a break. When we return, we'll check out a new program that could have far-reaching benefits for our residents. We'll also head down to Bush Wildlife for a special fishing day with seniors from Delmar Gardens. Stay with us for O'Fallon Matters.
The O'Fallon Theater Works Summer Theater Camp and Workshop is back. Starting July 9th, come check out our exciting 3-week theater programs, which will offer children and teens an opportunity to explore their natural creativity and build confidence through learning and using performing arts skills. Each participant will create an original character and then collaborate on a storyline and play. They'll focus on developing creative thinking skills, script writing, and character development, plus voice work, physical characterization, costuming, set design, and rehearsals, culminating in a matinee production for family and friends to enjoy on July 28th at 2 p.m. The camp is for actors ages 9 through 12 and will run Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon at the City Hall Auditorium. The workshop is for ages 13 through 17 and will run Monday through Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. at the City Hall Auditorium. The cost for this 3-week camp is $225 for residents and $249 for non-residents. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to inspire the budding actor in your child.
community, civic pride, volunteerism. O'Fallon prides itself in the high quality of life it offers to everyone who lives, works, goes to school, and conducts business here. I am Kaylin Wolf, and I'm proud to be an O'Fallon volunteer. O'Fallon is a beautiful city. It's recognized as one of the best places to live in the country. Our hard work and volunteers have helped make this city what it is today. Volunteerism is when people get together for a common cause without expecting anything in return. In 2011, 2,490 citizens volunteered their time to the city of O'Fallon. Our volunteers gave 20,000 hours of service and provided an added value of $436,148 to our community. Volunteerism is a matter of civic pride. Check out Volunteer Services webpage at www.ofallon.mo.us/volunteer to learn how you can join hundreds of O'Fallon volunteers of all ages who are making a positive impact in our community. My name is Kaylin Wolf, and I am proud to be an O'Fallon volunteer.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of our city. Who better to talk to about volunteers than our own Councilman Bill Gardner. Bill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's an excellent day.
It is an excellent day, and we're probably in a place that's a home away from home for you, parks.
Spent a lot of time in our city parks. They're quite the place to be.
And you've spent, I think the last tally was since 2005, you've had like over 17,000 hours of volunteer hours?
I don't keep track. Like I say, just recently, probably the last 8 years, I actually kept track of them. But up until that point, I just showed up, did what I had to do, and never kept track. So not until Kathy Halstead came over did they actually start keeping track of how much time we spent.
Right, it's tough to track because in 2005, before then, you've been volunteering for a long time since then.
I have 28 years total. 20 of them. This is my 20th year with the city, though. Like I say, I do assorted events. I probably started out when my oldest son was Little League Baseball, and being one of the parents that showed up, you get conned in to help it, and that's where it all started.
So why do you think volunteering is so important to you?
Volunteering, at one point I thought it was just a way of spending time. That's what I had most to give, but you get so much more. I mean, volunteering, you see development in programs, you see anticipation, and just the volunteers that are there, they're like family.
And I think being a volunteer, I've noticed that if you're not necessarily getting paid for something, it seems like the people that are doing it are much more happy.
Well, and that's what makes volunteers great. I mean, if you don't want to do it, you don't volunteer. It's not like a job. So anybody who volunteers, 99% of the time, they're going to be happy to be there and eager to do the job. So we probably get more accomplished in short windows than most people do in a payday.
So what made you decide to step your service up and then actually become a councilman? What made that? Was there an event that made that happen?
No, there was nothing special. I just figured it was another way to get more involved, deeper in parks. I was always interested in parks, especially because I feel that's a program that no matter what kind of economical times you're in, you can go to the park. You can go swimming. You can go for a walk. We've got some unbelievable playgrounds. So like I say, to keep the development of our parks, and I thought that was an ideal way to pursue that.
And you've spent enough time in the parks that I know it's tough for you to talk about, to brag on yourself, but you just recently got an honor from the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association.
That was quite a surprise. Normally, you volunteer not to get anything back, but when somebody recognizes you, it was quite a surprise.
Yeah, what kind of an evening was that?
It was down at the Lodge of the Four Seasons. Cindy Springer, who was our City of O'Fallon Parks Director, asked me to show up and didn't give me an idea why.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, and actually when I sat down for the dinner, it was a dinner. They had what do you want to call a program, and they took my program away. So I knew something was up when they wouldn't let me have a program. So, but like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. It's quite nice to be honored by other people.
Right, and you shared the honor that evening with a couple of ladies that have made a big difference in our parks.
Oh, a couple of excellent ladies. I mean, they brought a playground to our park that is second to none, and like I say, to share it just with that organization was great.
You've been volunteering with more than just the city. You're a big volunteer with the St. Jude organization.
I do St. Jude's. I've been involved with St. Jude's Children's Hospital for 10 years now. Like I say, this is my 28th year coaching baseball, 15 of it with American Legion program here in town. I've done backstoppers. Like I say, if somebody needs a hand, all they got to do is call. I have a hard time saying no. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the characteristics. You're here all the time. It's tough to imagine this place without seeing you either dumping mulch into something or painting something else. And
well, that's what's ironic is when I finally did get elected as councilman, a lot of people at City Hall said, "Well, how can you be a councilman? You work here." I go, "No, don't work here. Just here a lot." And so a lot of the city employees, prior to being elected, actually thought I was employed by the city.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of other things. Your extreme fundraising, like jumping into a frozen lake and running across the state.
I have a soft spot in my heart for kids. Kids nowadays tend to grow up too fast, and when I was a kid, my dad, one of the first things he told me is just be a kid as long as you can be a kid. And like I say, a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they don't have that opportunity. So any chance I get, either be with St. Jude's or helping with the playground or something just in the parks, where all kids can be kids, is something special to me.
Okay, I think that's the perfect way to close this out. I appreciate you coming down and spending some time with us.
Oh, not a problem. It's the parks are my best place to be.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This next group of volunteers took a break from firefighting to give back to their community. Here's Joe Meyer with more.
The O'Fallon Fire Protection District's firefighters respond to emergency calls every day. These emergency calls also provide an opportunity to recognize additional needs of our citizens that can't be addressed on scene. To address these needs, our firefighters have responded by volunteering their time off duty through the O'Fallon Firefighters Community Outreach.
About 2 years ago, a group of guys got together. We were looking for a way to give back to the community. 90% of our guys live in the O'Fallon Fire District. We started off as volunteers, and now that we're paid firefighters, we just wanted to find some way to give back to the people that have stood behind us all these years. People in our community are the reason that we have a job. They're the reason that we do the job that we do. It's not all about going out and fighting fires and helping out with car accidents and medical calls. It's about helping the community, and if people need our help, we're here for them.
Over the last few years, the OFCO has held fundraisers for several organizations in our community, such as the Center for Autism Education and O'Fallon Senior Center. But one day that the firefighters look forward to the most is a fishing trip to Bush Wildlife.
Well, we run a lot of calls over at Delmar Gardens with their citizens whenever there's an EMS call. We have a good relationship with them. It started last year. This is our second year doing it. Perfect weather for it. We get them out away from the building. You know, some of them don't have family that come and visit. They're stuck there all day. They wanted a guy's day out, and that's what we're doing.
Put that fish on there. Just being out with the guys, and I loved fishing when I was younger. And I think I got one out there.
My secret to fish, put the worm on and throw it in. That's all there is to it.
Since 30, 40 years since I've been in here. So that's why I want to come and see what's still staying.
You know, we go out to eat with them, we interact with them, and everything else. Sitting in the fire stations, no fun for us, no fun for anybody else. So we like to get out and help our community.
Every single firefighter in O'Fallon started off as volunteers. It's what we've always wanted to do, and you know, that's the greatest gesture you can do, is volunteer and go out and do something that you're not getting paid for, but you're making somebody smile and you're giving somebody some pleasure. that might not get it all the time.
I'm happy and congratulate all of you to do all this, because it wouldn't be for you people, nobody would be going out fishing.
If you want more information on the O'Fallon Firefighters Community Outreach, you can call Dave O'Leary at 314-744-9112 or email him at OFallonFirefighters@gmail.com.
How would you like to see improvements to your community? How about better roads? Alternate forms of transportation? There's a chance for your voice to be heard. Here's Kim Doan with more.
Residents, businesses, and community leaders have the opportunity to make a difference in their community by participating in the Regional Plan for Sustainable Development. The St. Louis region was awarded a $4.7 million three-year grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to develop a long-term plan for sustainable regional development. Overseeing the plan is East-West Gateway Council of Governments, who serves as the lead agency and fiscal agent throughout the grant process.
It's a region-wide effort to develop a plan that balances the needs of all residents and businesses. We are looking at economic, social, and environmental issues. We're researching different ways of coordinating housing and transportation, economic development issues. So when we make decisions for allocating resources, they are positive for all of those aspects.
The Sustainable Communities is made of 3 partners: the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Transportation, and the Environmental Protection Agency.
They came together a couple years ago and wanted to make sure that they were making decisions in a coordinated way. And the partnership has led to a grant cycle that allows different areas throughout the country to work on planning issues like what we're trying to do here.
The cornerstone of the grant is the public engagement effort led by Focus St. Louis, who is the lead agency for putting together all of the public engagement meetings.
We have 11 different planning areas. This area here, Wentzville, Lake St. Louis, O'Fallon, is one of 11 planning areas. And in each planning area, we're planning on doing a series of 4 separate meetings. One in the spring of 2012, again this summer, again in the fall, and then once more in the winter, you know, either December, probably January 2013. Go back and take what we're going to do is in each of these different planning areas, we're finding out what the real critical issues are that people are concerned about. And then what we want to be able to do is come back in a couple months and say, well, this is what you told us was important for your community. Here are some ideas that we want to bounce off of you.
In its final form, the Regional Plan for Sustainable Development will be a concise, readable document that is flexible so that it can be tailored to different communities in the region. There will also be tangible items.
There will be an online toolkit that has those model ordinances and best practices and case studies as much as possibly at a local level. There will be a data portal where communities can access a lot of data that will help them make decisions. And there will be a transit-oriented development study that provides plans for some stations along our Metrolink light rail system. There'll be a housing assessment that lays the groundwork for improving our housing options throughout the region. So those are a couple examples, but there are many facets to this plan.
For more information or to be a participant in the next meeting, go to www.ewgateway.org/RPSD.
We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a story idea, let us know. Drop us a line at OFallonTV at o'fallon.mo.us. Remember to give back to your community because O'Fallon matters to all of us.